I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed with this centerpiece. Once I got the troubleshooting out of the way, this project was super easy, super affordable, and super quick to put together. I really think it adds something to any event. This could be upscaled for like a wedding or a bridal shower or something like that. And it could also just as easily be placed on the dinner table. By nature, flowers do not sink. This was surprisingly difficult to get this to sink to the bottom of the container. It kept wanting to float back up on me, but I did not give up because I knew that there was a way. The reason why it was more difficult to get this to sink was I wanted something that was going to be very inexpensive, so I don't want it to be something where it makes the project cost a whole lot of money. I also wanted it to be something that was like sure to work, no matter who's doing it, no matter what your skill level is. I want this project to be easy. So I want it to be easy, I want it to be cheap, and I want it to be quick. And I found the perfect solution. And surprisingly enough, the solution was this little screw thing here. This is actually a U-ring, and it is 1/4 of an inch. So 1/4 inch U-ring. You can buy a whole bag of these, and they're very, very inexpensive. I want to say like a bag of like 50 of them is like $10. Don't quote me on the price, but these are very inexpensive. So you can make a lot of centerpieces very cheap. So the way that we use this is we take our flower, and you're gonna have the stem. Now your stem can be longer than mine. Probably couldn't be any shorter than what I have. You need a little bit of stem to work with. And we're just gonna place it in the center of our U-ring. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna start tightening the bolts. Now you'll notice that I go side to side, and that's because as you tighten one side to be like finger tight, the next side is ready to be tightened, and it just goes back and forth. So we're gonna keep doing that as much as you can, just to make sure that we have this fully secured on the flower. This is literally what's gonna be holding the flower down. So we wanna make sure that we do it right. So we'll just go ahead, we'll grab our vase, and we will place our flower in there. Here's the thing, it's gonna look a little bit ugly. Like, we don't want that U-ring showing up. So we take the glass beads and we place them in the bottom of our vase. Now, a fun little thing that I do is I like to use the glass beads to kind of center my flower so it's sitting straight up and down. It's not at an angle or anything like that. Then comes the moment of truth. We add the water. This is the time when you're gonna find out if you tighten that ring up enough or if you gotta redo it. So beautiful. And you can fill the jar up as much as you would like or as little as you'd like. You just need enough room for the floating candle to not hit your flower on the bottom. And I think that's enough water for right now. I want this to be a soy wax floating candle. So originally I made this with a softer soy wax and it did not work out. I mean, I could have made it work. You have to be really careful. You have to be really particular about temperature, and you have to let it cool. So the first time I didn't let it cool long enough, removed it from the mold, and it stuck. The second time I was like, I know exactly what to do. I'm gonna pop this in the freezer and it'll be good to go. When I went to unmold it, it broke into 3 different parts. The third time I decided I was gonna go with a wax that's actually made for the project I'm doing, which I should have started there, but I didn't. This is a soy wax too, but the fun thing is it's actually made for pillar candles. So that means that candles that aren't in like a votive jar or something like that, tarts, floating candles, stuff like that, this is a soy wax that you want to use for them. The reason is because this one is going to be harder. And I find it easier just to weigh the soy wax directly when I'm putting it into the pouring pot. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to pop it on a double boiler. This mold is a little bit different. So when you're placing the wick, there's like a hole in the bottom of the mold. What we do is we just take the wick and you pop it right through that hole Now you want to make sure that it's not sticking out too much so the wick still, or so the mold still stays flat. And then we set this off to the side until we're ready to pour. Our wax is fully melted, so we'll add our fragrance oil and we'll give that a really good mix. Now, whenever I'm mixing candle wax and fragrance oil, I like to mix it for at least 2 minutes. So this allows it to cool down a little bit, but it also allows everything to fully bind together. So really take your time here, give it a couple minutes. The thing that I thought was interesting with this wax is the package doesn't have a whole lot of directions. It says to heat it up, add the fragrance oil, and pop it into the container. So I don't have a temperature at which I'm supposed to pour it. So I'm a little bit just winging it. With that being said, I've heated this wax up. I've poured the fragrance oil in, I popped it in here. I didn't check temperatures at all. And every single time I got a good candle. The only problem at all that I had with these candles is when they're cooling, they have a little bit of a divot. So no matter how much you fill the mold, the top of the candle gets a little bit of a divot. Now you can pour some more wax in there, which is what I did to this candle. It's not perfect, but it's not gonna take very long for that to heat up. Like once you light it, it's not very long until you're burnt to that spot. So I'm not even super worried about filling in that divot part, if I'm being honest. That's kind of a personal preference thing. Like if you need it to be perfect, you certainly can. I would pour a little bit lower than like what I did on this one, because you can kind of see it. But the part that I love for this project is there's no checking of any temperatures. There's no temperature, there's no temperature to check. So literally the package, the bag that I read the instructions on says heat it up, add your fragrance oil, and pop it into your container. So they make this to be a very forgiving wax, have had zero issues with it. When you pour your candle, make sure that you stay low and very close to it. That way you get a really good pour. You don't want to get a bunch of bubbles in there. And our mold is filled all the way up to the very top. So what we're going to do is we're just going to allow this to cool completely before we unmold it. The mold that I'm using, there's something I like about it and there's something that I don't love about it. I love that the wick just stays straight. I don't even need to use anything to like center the wick in here, and I'm loving that. I think it's absolutely amazing. However, I don't love how hard it is to get the candle out. I feel like that's the reason the soy wax one doesn't really work, is it's a little bit rough getting the candle out. Like you're roughing it up. I'll show you when we unmold this one. Remember I was telling you this would have a little bit of a divot from the wax cooling? Now you can fill that in with some more wax if you want. I'm not going to on this one because it kind of gives the candle somewhere for the wax to go when you light it in the centerpiece. So I'm gonna leave it as is, but you can certainly add more wax if you'd like. So there is our finished floating candle. And I like just to come to the bottom, snip off as much of the wick as you can. And then on the top, we're gonna keep about 1/4 of an inch. And the best part is this is such a beautiful and versatile centerpiece that you could use it for so many things. You could use this for a wedding or a baby shower or something like that. Or if you're feeling fancy one night for dinner, you certainly could use it for that. It is just that easy and that inexpensive to make. You are gonna be as obsessed as I am. So there is your finished centerpiece. Really, once you understand the kind of annoying pieces of making it, like what kind of wax should I use that's gonna make this candle stay in this form, it's still gonna float, all of this stuff, and how do I get the flower to stay at the bottom? Once I navigated those, this was a super easy, super affordable, and super fun project. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so already, be sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, I do have another channel called Plant Talk where I have so many flowers. Let me know, what kind of flower would you put in your floating candle centerpiece?